Om. 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 Bhunaktu saha viryankaravavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. So, Jai Gurudev, and welcome to the Bhagavata Saptah. We'll start from today. Before we start, I need to let you know that these are from the CDs that were given to me by one of my friends. So the quality and the quality might be affected at places, but please bear with the whole thing. Be patient. Let's get the gist of the whole thing. Most of it is fine. There are some little gaps and interruptions in between, but let's start this on such an auspicious day. It is again a very beautiful coincidence. We did not plan it this way, but it just so happens that today is Krishna Janmashtami and we are beginning his story today. So let's just revel in the bhakti and the devotion that Raji Ma, for most of you who are not aware of who Raji Ma is, she is a wonderful person, a beautiful devotee. She was a very senior art of living teacher. She was handpicked by Gurudev to take the baton forward. So she was, by then, even before she became an art of living teacher, was already talking about Ashtavakra and sharing her knowledge on Ashtavakra and telling people about Bhagavatam. And this talking about Bhagavatam, narrating Bhagavatam has been a family tradition. So after her, her daughter, who's also a teacher, an art of living teacher, carries it forward. Yeah. So we're all very blessed to be able to listen to her wonderful narration of Bhagavatam. Let's revel in that. Jai Gurudev.
Samprabha Nirvignam Kuru me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya. Om Namo
Let's continue to chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
So he collected it. And then with Vyasa, Bhagavan.
Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate 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 Vasudevaya.
Yes, we'll resume the Bhagavatam.
How does this story come about? We'll begin from there. It begins with Vyasa, Bhagavan Vyasa, who had already written the Mahabharata with the Bhagavad Gita in it, which gives advice to people like us how to be in the world and to achieve peace of mind, happiness, and success in our lives. The Bhagavad Gita teaches that. Yes? Right? If we did not know, quickly go and learn it so that we know this is what it teaches. He had already done all this. And he had done more. He had collected all the Vedas that were being chanted throughout in the whole country of India and compiled them, classified them and compiled them into 4 main groups. You know that, right? Those of you who know, tell me, what are the 4 Vedas? Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, Atharva Veda. Now each Veda is a science. Each one has a department which it deals with. And therefore he had classified according to that because they were scattered all over the country. So he collected it and then put them into different classes, which is a stupendous task. It's not a, in fact, people who are doing research say that not one Vyasa, there must have been many Vyasas because it's not possible by one human being to have done that, but that was the task Vyasa Bhagavan did. After he had achieved all that, and he had written many Puranas, many stories. Purana means, Pur means town, city. Ana means Nava. Nava means new. What is new in town? What is new in town now? In San Jose? Bhagavatam. So Purana doesn't mean old. It means that which is new in town now. And what was written so many thousands of years ago is relevant to our lives today. How? That is the power of the myth. How many of you have heard of Joseph Campbell? He's an American. Have you read his Power of the Myth? You should read that. or hear his CD cassette. I'm sure I saw it as a video cassette. I'm sure it's a CD now. All libraries have it. You can take it out and see. He has done elaborate research about the myth of not one country but all the countries in the world, and he comes up with this discovery that I don't know, I only read his book and I'm just telling from there. He says that the closest that they have of a myth is, the Americans have, is the Star Wars by George Lucas, who was a very close friend of Joseph. And the Star Wars, again, is the story of mankind, the struggle between the good and bad within us, which is depicted as a story and elaborately done, like there is Darth Vader, there is this, Luke Skywalker, good man, bad man, and how the good and the bad fight and who succeeds, etc., etc. Yeah, that is Star Wars, right? See, we know Star Wars, we don't know Bhagavatam. Star Wars I don't have to sit and tell. You all know. Bhagavatam I have to come and tell. Myth. Let us say Sunil. Sunil has this a piece of embroidery in a cloth in his house, which he has kept in the worship place of worship. So I went one day to his house and asked him, why have you put a piece of embroidery in the place of worship? What are you worshipping a piece of embroidery? And he tells, oh Rajima, it's just not a piece of embroidery. It is very sacred in our house. My great-great-grandmother's great-great-grandmother did this embroidery. That means how many generations above? Count. Great-great-grandmother's great-great-grandmother. About 8 to 9 generations behind, above. Now what happened? That great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmother had embroidered a piece of something when she was young. School time, she had done it for a project. And before she died, she gave it to her daughter, saying nobody else will bother about it. Normally only daughters treasure all these silly sentimental things. That's how we are made, what to do. We are from Venus, they say. So this little piece, she gave it to her. And that lady was so attached to that because it was her mother's and her mother gave it before she died. Isn't it? Isn't it precious? So then what she did, she gave it to her daughter when she got married and saying, look, this is my mother's precious thing. I don't care what you do with your jewelry, but this piece of embroidery you must keep very carefully. So the daughter has seen the grandmother when she was Lotus teeth and all. She has seen her grandma. So she's been fond of her in a little way. So she kept it. And then she gave it to her daughter, and that daughter has never seen the grandmother. Got it? Are you getting the picture? So now this child has never seen that great-grandmother. But the mother has said, it is very important because my grandma had given it to my mother, blah, 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 blah. So the child, okay, my mother's, it is precious for my mother, therefore I will keep it also carefully. Yes? Do you see that? And so forth. This goes on till it reaches the great-great-granddaughter's great-great-granddaughter son, who is sitting here. None of them have seen that great-grandmother who made it. It may be even a big lie. Nobody knows. It's only the word of mouth. Yes? Trust coming from word of mouth, and he believes strongly that it is something precious in his house. Are you listening to this, hearing this? This is the myth. Now it has become a myth for his child and him. Isn't that true? Got it? Yet it is not a lie. But it is a myth to this present generation because you don't know that great grandfather's story, which is what I am going to tell you today. It is the story of not just Indians, it is the story of all mankind. Because it is going to tell us the story of the creation of this world. It's going to tell us so many things, which today may feel like a myth, but is true, where it began. You see? And the greatness of this story, I cannot tell you now until you tell me 3 days later, 5 days later, because we are going to on this journey for 7 days. And unless you go through that journey for 7 days, you will not understand what we are here, what is so great, why is this, for thousands of years this has come down. And why a seemingly intelligent woman is sitting and talking about this. This Rishi, sage, who has recorded this for us, before he wrote this, he was, I told you, had written the Mahabharata, in which there is the Bhagavad Gita, and then he had done the Puranas, he had classified the Vedas, etc. He has done all this task. After that, he gets depression. Oh my God. We all thought only we got depression, right? Even someone like Vyasa got depressed. But in those days, there was no Prozac to give him. No therapy, psychological therapy, nothing, no counseling. What happens? When such a great man gets depressed, then all the angels and gods get upset. Oh my God, we can't afford to lose. He's a poet and a great man. We need him to write more. So immediately they sent their very special messenger whose name was Narada. Never mind if you don't get the name, it's okay. They just sent a very special angel. One of their best. And he comes along and hearing he always plays a musical instrument and comes, the veena. He plays. And he comes there and he always chants Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayana. This is what he always will chant. Quite a boring guy. He had nothing more to chant but this. So he comes along and Vyasa doesn't even feel like getting up and receiving him. Otherwise, normally you're supposed to receive an angel when he visits. Come on, give me a break. We get up and receive lesser beings. Why not an angel? And Narada says, what's the matter with you, Vyasa? Normally you are never like that. You have done great, achieved great things. Why are you like this today? Like other people. Why are you like that? I don't know. I just feel low. Don't ask me. I don't feel like anything. Ah, okay. Why don't you write another poem? I don't feel like writing any poems anymore. I'm so fed up. But please, can you help me? Can you tell me why I'm like this? And then Narada says, I know you have written these wonderful works, you have done great, written amazing things, done great, achieved great works also. But you know what? All this while you have approached everything from the intellect. The Bhagavad Gita was written from the intellect, for the intellect. But now you need to write something from your heart. Okay, what should I write about? From the heart. He says, write about the Lord Himself. The story of Krishna, why don't you write? Who is Krishna? One unromantic guy. So when you write about him, you have to come from your heart. Otherwise, you can never understand him. You know, if you go from the head, you will miss him. So that is why Narada picks on this character called Krishna. So for those who don't know Krishna, don't worry, the story is all about him only. It's coming. Relax. Now, Vyasa knew. Why? Because he was his relative. So he knew about him. That is why Narada says, you know about him first hand, so you write his story. Vyasa says, good idea. Yeah, why not? I will do that, he says. And so he starts to write. And when a poet starts writing, you know, straight away he will not say, once upon a time there was a man called Krishna and he was born to... He won't say like that. You and I will tell stories like that. But when a big poet writes it, he will... Or if you see an artist, have you seen an artist paint? How many have seen an artist paint? Tell me. You will see that elaborate background first he will prepare. Have you seen? The canvas, the way they prepare the canvas. First they have to rub it and some stretch it, and they've got an elaborate procedure for the background first. Till that is in place, they won't pick the brush and paint. You and I, before the paper is ready, okay, mix the paint, let's see how it comes. You see? That's how. A poet, when he starts painting, writing a poem, he will put the background beautifully first. So he starts where? He starts from the beginning, which is the end of the Mahabharata. You know, he had already written the Mahabharata. Now what the Mahabharata is, people like Bonnie, you know what you should do? Tonight you go and search in the internet and you will get the story of the Mahabharata. You can note down the name, song will help you later on. And that you Google and find out the story. And the story is about two groups of two families, the Kauravas and Pandavas, who fought, and the end, the story, the end was they fought, Pandavas won, and Pandavas are ruling the country. So around the time of the war ending is where now Vyasa picks up the story. You see this as a flashback. So, what happens in that war? All the Kauravas are killed, all their children are killed, and Ashwatthama, who was on the side of this Kauravas, was very angry with the Pandavas because they cheated and killed his father. So he was very angry. Do you all know this? If you don't know it now. So what did he do? He determined to kill all the children of the Pandavas and their grandchildren, so that they will have no progeny at all. So he went in the night and in the camp while the children were sleeping, he went and killed all the children. Then he heard news that one of the grandson, Abhimanyu's child, was growing in the womb of his wife. So that was one progeny left. So he wanted to destroy that too. Who was that? Parikshit. Excellent. So this baby Parikshit was in the womb of Shubhadra, the wife of Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu, who was already killed. So the only remaining branch of this whole family was what? This child in the womb, this baby in the womb. And what does he do? He sends this very powerful weapon called Brahmastra, which never fails in the task it sets out. So this Brahmastra, once it is sent, will find its victim. So it goes straight to the womb of this woman who is carrying the baby. Understood? Are you getting the point? And when it goes there, the Lord Krishna, who is there, because this Abhimanyu is his nephew. Okay, so he is sitting there and he enters the womb, and what the baby sees is this blue light going round and round him. This fetus inside the baby, the mother's womb, sees Krishna as a blue light going round and protecting him. So the Brahmastra, this weapon which would have otherwise destroyed the fetus, could not go near at all. And it has a time period. And if that time it doesn't kill, it will get fused. Okay, it will get out. So it got put out. And then the baby was safely delivered. And the child was called Parikshit, and he was growing. But in the meantime, what had happened? When the time the baby was born and growing, Krishna dies in Dwaraka. Arjuna comes back with the news and tells all the other brothers that Krishna is dead. Already the brothers had lost interest in their lives because all their children were dead, all their relatives were dead, their Guru Bhishma, Drona were all dead. So there was nothing for them in this world. They were thoroughly disillusioned. They said, is this what we fought all this war for? Is this what we waited for 14 years in the forest? We have no interest in life. So they all go away to the Himalayas, leaving this child Parikshit on the throne. This is the historical background. Parikshit was a very righteous, good king, ruling his country very well. One day he goes to hunt. You know, kings in those days, their pastime was, entertainment was not movies or casinos. They went hunting to entertain themselves. And when he went there, he got separated from his retinue. You know, a big retinue goes with him. Now what happens? He gets separated from his retinue. He's alone. It's late afternoon, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. He's very hungry and more than hungry, he's very thirsty. So he goes in search of water. He's been riding for a long time looking for water, and finally he sees in the distance, in the clearing in the forest, a little hut, and he knows there will be some water there. He goes there, and there he sees a rishi, a sage, sitting in deep meditation with his eyes closed. So he goes galloping and breaks and gets off and makes a lot of noise with his spurs and jumps out and said, "Hey, hello, everybody, anybody there?" And the rishi has not opened his eyes, nobody is there to greet him, and you know what happens? Normally he's a very balanced, very good king. But you know, even we are all very good people, aren't we? Of course we are. But what happens when someday we are very hungry, very thirsty, very insulted, very upset? What do? We also do crazy things. Yeah? Which we ourselves come back and regret. Yes or no? Yes. Isn't it true? So, after all, he was also a human being like us. So what happened that day? He was so thirsty. He was dying of thirst. And here he comes, and this rishi doesn't even open his eyes, doesn't greet him, doesn't do anything. And he gets so angry, and he sees a dead skin of a snake nearby. So with his sword, he just lifts it up, puts it around the throat, the neck of the rishi, and turns away in anger and gallops off. But what happens? The son of that sage, he had gone to fetch water from the river nearby. And as he was returning, he saw this. He saw what? A king coming and putting the snake skin around his father's neck. And he gets furious. How dare somebody do this to my father, who was just sitting, doing no harm to anybody, sitting and praying for the welfare of the world. So he comes there and curses the king, saying that you will die of a snake bite in 7 days, within 7 days. At that time, the Rishi opens his eyes and has heard what the son has said, and he said, "Oh my God, what did you do? He is our best bet. He is the only king who was doing very good job, and him also you have cursed now. Now we have to elect all over again." Ayya. To get one good ruler, we know that nowadays how difficult it is. Huh? And here, what have you done? You have cursed a good king. He did a foolish act. Okay, we could have punished him with a lesser thing, but what have you done? You have cursed him with death. So now you better run quickly and tell the king, because he has to know about it. So the son immediately, in those days, sons always listened to their parents. In those days. How many years ago? Thousands of years ago. Even girls, daughters and sons, always, in those days, listened to their parents. So immediately he rushes to the palace, and there the king has already reached, no? Because he was on a horse. He reached, as soon as he reached, you know a king, how 10 people will come with water, with milk, with honey, and with a cup of tea, and biscuit, and food, everything was given, refreshments. He has everything, and he immediately feels good. He says, what did I do? Oh my God, I put a dead snake. Why? That's not me at all. Why did I do that? So he immediately gets up, runs to his horse to go and apologize to the sage. But as he comes out, who comes there? The Rishi's son. Okay, very dramatic, no? How dramatic. So he comes in and says, "Sorry, king, I did something." And the king, "I am so sorry." No, wait, please listen first. I have to tell you this first. I have already cursed you, that you will die of a snake bite within 7 days. You have only 7 days to live. And the king, imagine, just look at that. He says, "Wow, thank you. I was coming to apologize to your father and take the punishment which he was going to give me. I was going to demand the punishment. And here you already bring me the gift of a punishment, because I wish to atone for my wrong action straight away." That is why a man like Parikshit alone got the Bhagavatam. Even here, so many people told so many about Bhagavatam. Is everybody here? Only the Parikshits will be here. You understand what I mean? We may do mistakes. We also, in this room, we also may do mistakes. But we are those who are willing to take responsibility for our mistakes, the way Parikshit did. Got it? Yes, no? I'm telling you, you don't even know, "Oh, how does she know?" I know. Why? Because that's why you're here. Simple. Others will not come. Those who are not ready to take responsibility for their actions will not come here. So Parikshit says, others will immediately do big pujas, havans and prayers to stall the punishment. Have you seen what we do, some people? We do a wrong thing. Then a very common thing is putting a lot of money in Tirupati Balaji temple. Next best thing is havans. All these kind of side shortcuts to escape the punishment that comes when we do a wrong thing. And we will be the first ones to punish those who do the wrong thing. So here is a king who very gladly receives the judgment passed on him and the punishment, and he says, thank you very much for immediately granting me this relief. I don't have to wait for a long time. Let me finish it right away. Thank you very much. And immediately he turns around to his minister, chief minister, prime minister, and says, look, now tell me, what should I do within... you have to check that one. What should I do in these 7 days so that I will have a better life at least next time, wherever it is that I am going? How best can I spend my days, these last 7 days? And I consider myself very blessed and lucky that I think I am the only one human being in the whole world who knows when exactly he is going to die. Doctors keep telling, I give you only 3 days time. But then unfortunately or fortunately they set up and live for few more years. Isn't it so? So nobody knows. Here is a man who knows when he is going to die. So he says, I'm so blessed and that much is enough, but tell me, what should I do? So the minister, in those days the kings always kept one advisor who was spiritual. They may have a financial advisor, economic advisor, development advisor, all this, agricultural advisor, but they will, even sexual advisor, but they will definitely have a spiritual advisor who will give on spiritual matters, they will give the advice. So this spiritual person is called a guru in India. So he asks his Kula Guru, please tell me what I should do, and he says, you can listen to the Bhagavata story, the story of Bhagavatham. Wow, what is that? He says, just like one of us. Is it the Bhagavad Gita? No, it is different. Many people asked me, the minute I say Bhagavatam, oh, is it the Bhagavad Gita? If it was Bhagavad Gita, I know to say it is Bhagavad Gita. If I am not saying it Bhagavad Gita, then it must be something different. So where will I hear it, he says. Then he says, there are many people who know it, but the best one I know is Sukha Bhagavan. And who is Sukha Bhagavan? The son of Vyasa. He is the one who will tell you the story in the best way. So go and ask him to tell you. So immediately, being the king, he sends people all over the place to locate him first. And once he is located, he goes and falls at his feet, bows down to him and says, please sir, will you tell me the Bhagavatam? I have only 7 days left. And Sukha Muni said, sure. And so, the story begins. Sukha Bhagavan starts telling the story to Parikshit. The news of this, that Bhagavatam is going to happen in the forest, spreads, and by word of mouth, immediately all the sages, rishis, people, whoever heard of it, immediately congregated in this direction to this same place to hear the Bhagavatam. Because for this you are not supposed to be invited. You just hear Bhagavatam is happening, people should be coming. Because this is not just a story. All other stories are stories. This is, the story itself is God. When I heard this the first time, I was, oh, come on, what is this? But when I heard the 7 days I spent hearing the story, I knew then that yes, this story itself, the story itself is God. So what you are going to hear from today for 6 more days, through your ears, through the sounds that are coming from my lips, God is going to pour into your ears. Blessed are those who are today having ears to hear, and this mouth can speak it. And this blessing, if I say today, you may not understand or know, but in these 7 days, you will yourself know, if at all you know. And see, for all other functions, after everything is over, they put a garland. For this, you start with the garland. It is not for this body. It is for what is going to come through these lips. That is one of the greatest things about this, that this is just not any ordinary story. So all those who come and sit, they may, when I was a young child and my mother used to take me for this, I would invariably, it would be in the open area, in the temple or in the beach or something, and there'll be lovely sand on the ground. I'll be playing, making castles and all that. And how do I know about Bhagavatam, Vyasa, Sukha Bhagavan, Parikshit, nothing. 3 years old, 2 years old, what will I know? But I was there playing in the sand, and this was entering me. Now believe me, never in my life, till about I think 6, 7 years ago, did I even dream that one day I'll be saying the Bhagavata Katha. Never did I even remotely imagine. I was planning to be a pilot first, that I agree. Then I wanted to be a chartered accountant, a CPA. All this I planned, but that didn't happen. This I never even thought of. And here I am sitting and telling Bhagavatam, state to state, country to country. Unbelievable for me. Somehow he must have entered through my ears when I was a young child. And he infected me. That we understand, no? Infection we understand. The poet in Vyasa, through Sukha's mouth, is painting now the background picture. So he is not going to tell us about Krishna straight away. He is going to build up the background. And the background is, he is going to tell us not only Krishna's avatara. Avatara means, when you and I are born, we are having rebirths to clean up the accounts of the previous births. But the problem is, we come to a new birth, we can't start new accounts. Before we have cleared up those accounts, we start fresh accounts. So we have more and more and more births. You got that? Whereas when the Lord decides to take on a body, he has no accounts to finish. Nothing. He comes in the form of a human being repeatedly whenever he finds mankind has totally destroyed themselves, are on the verge of extinction or destruction, then he comes to pull us out. Got it? So when we lose all dharma, all law of living, when we destroy our environment, when we make difficult for us to even breathe, that we don't even have fresh air or fresh water, then he says, okay, you've messed yourself up enough, then we'll come. Mother parents at home, have you noticed? When children are playing, normally they let them play. But when they feel these special screams coming, have you heard these special screams? The mother knows, this is danger. So she will drop everything and go and check it out. She will make an avatar there and she will sort it out for them. Now you understand? You understand? She will make an entry there and she will untangle the limbs or something. They'll be locked up in each other, fighting vigorously. So sometimes when it becomes a sticky situation, the adult will go and save the younger ones. Yes or no? I mean, that's what we are supposed to do. Nowadays, I really don't know what examples to take. It was so easy earlier to take a mother's example. Nowadays, mothers are busy in offices and all, they have no time for the children. So I don't know what example to take. Babysitter's example. Esther?
Yeah.
I'll do that. This seems a better bet now. Babysitters are busy taking care of children nowadays, so I'll take that example, yeah? Because I was quite lost now. Because mothers are not there anymore with children. So I have to think of babysitters. Okay, so what do babysitters do? They're busy reading a book. When they suddenly hear a special scream, they will drop the book or the TV, whatever they see, and they will run to save that situation. Got it? Like that, God will come now and then when the screams from the human beings come desperately, then He will come and come to sort it out for us. Got it? So He has been doing this repeatedly. So don't worry, He'll come again and again. So if some of you feel desperate even now, these days, you know that He will come when it gets desperate. So what I tell is, let us destroy this world pretty fast so that He will come and save us. This slow people coming with environment bills and trying to save it again and again, and you and I not throwing plastic, and we are all doing this. So what we are doing is we are delaying the avatar, the entry of God. So my suggestion would be that we go for a fast kill of the environment. What do you say? So that when we are alive itself, God will come, we will see. Like the gopis, we can enjoy with Him. What do you say? Good idea, no? So why not we start with plastic from every day? We'll use plastic and throw plastic. Got it? So that's when He will come. So the first, in this, it's not chronological. The poets have their license. So he first talks about the first avatar, the Varaha avatar, Adi Varaha avatar. And before that he has to tell who were the bad guys who came and made it so bad that Varaha had to come. Lord had to take, the Varaha means the boar. He took the form of a boar, and he is shameless. You must understand one thing. Thoroughly shameless. Who? God. What does it equate to? Those who have done the course will know. What does shameless equal to?
No ego.
Egoless. Okay? Shameless means egoless. He's totally no ego. So any shape he will take. Boar, lion, elephant, monkey, anything he will take. As long as he comes and saves you. That's all his purpose. Okay, so what happens? First, the creation is described. The absolute consciousness, if an artist were to draw it, he would draw it like this. A blue form in the image of man, because we can't understand something else, because we see him is in our image. So what would he describe? How would he paint an artist? He would paint a blue figure. Why blue? Because everywhere he sees a blue sky. That color which is predominantly available in the open sky. What is the color? Blue. It is blue in Israel. It is blue in Moscow. It is blue in Australia. Yes? Or am I saying something very strange? Yeah? The sky is blue. Wow, discovery. And it covers the whole area. Wherever we go in the world, we look up, we see. In Israel, actually, one guy, they love their country. Poor things, they've had it only for 60 years. So they look up and they tell me, one guy tells me, Rajima, how do you like our Israeli sky? He said. was the Indian sky yesterday. Because it has moved, the same sky has come here. And soon it will be American sky. Right? Yeah? So that kind. So the blue, so the artist who imagined his God drew this blue form, blue male figure. Must have been a male who drew it, I'm positive. So he drew this male figure, most handsome, 6-pack, 8-pack, which is the better one. Figure. And men, their favorite posture. What is it? Tell me. There is a man is saying. I'm not saying. Man himself is saying. When they watch TV, when they do anything, what are they doing? Ananta Sayana. Ananta means always, permanent. Shayana. Shayana means lying down. And they're reading a book. Anything they do, reclining. So how did the artist represent it? Reclining. On what? On a bed. Of what? Here the artist knew a little more. What does he know? That the ego is the problem in everybody's mind. Everybody. The only problem is the ego. So how will the Lord handle the ego? You and I, we mess up with the ego. But how does God will do? He will use the ego as a tool. What does he do? He makes it his bed. So the artist represents it as a snake. And what? One-head snake or two-head snake? 1,000 and more. If you see the way your ego, what all forms it takes and comes. When you think you have handled it in one way, it comes back in another way. Yeah? Isn't it so? So that's why it is depicted figuratively as 1,000, many headed snake. And that snake, this cool guy uses as his bed. And he is reclining. He is in Yoga Nidra. And what is Yoga Nidra? The description here is given about the 3 gunas in Laya. Everything is in rhythm, everything is perfect, everything is quiet, there is no creation. For example, when you are in deep sleep, what happens when you are in deep sleep? Do you have a dream? In deep sleep? Any dream? Nothing. Are you getting up and making a cup of tea? In deep sleep? Nothing. You are dead to the world. Yes? Yes. There is nothing. The minute from deep sleep, you come to the next thing is the dream. You start dreaming. All your thoughts of past, future come together in a little khichdi, and then you have a messed up dream. Isn't it? Don't be disturbing. Please sit down. Are you seeing this? Then what happens? Then you wake up. The deep sleep state, there is nothing happening, no world. You're not aware of your world at all. Right? So, when does the world come up again? When you are aware, wake up. Now what happens? The Lord is in deep sleep, and then through the work of Maya, which again is the greatest mystery, and that secret he will not tell you. He wraps himself in Maya, illusion, and what happens? From the middle of his beingness, the core of his beingness, which the artist depicts as the navel. The navel is the center of the body for everybody, isn't it? So from the middle, the center of the body, comes this stalk, grows a stalk, a lotus stalk, and at the end of the lotus stalk comes a lotus. And the lotus has a being in the middle. The Lord himself enters the stalk, says this poet. This is the myth. You must go with the myth now. Are you hearing me? Remember the great-great-great-grandmother of Sunil? This is the myth. How did the great-great-grandmother do this embroidery? There is a story for that, isn't it? When she was 8 years old, she went to school. That day the teacher scolded her. There's a story, isn't it? Okay, like that. Now what? The Lord himself enters the stock and comes out as Brahma, Vishnu, lying on his bed of snake, comes through the stalk, and there he now takes on another roop, another way of expressing himself. And there he expresses himself as the creator Brahma. But the Brahma himself at that point doesn't know he is the creator. Till he hears the Lord tell through inside him, create. You are now responsible for creating. Have you noticed yourself that sometimes you are the creator? You create ideas, you create new ways of doing things. Yes? You have it in you or not? Yeah? And then you are also maintaining your machines, your house, your relationship with great difficulty. You are maintaining, aren't you? So that is the Vishnu of you. And then there are times you have to destroy. I see everybody has a shredder these days in your house. Yeah? Don't you do it? And then you have to weed out some people from your relationship. What? Yes or no? So you are Shiva. So we are the ones who are doing this every day in our life. So here you find himself branching out as the creator. And Brahma starts creating. When he creates, the first thing he brings out is 4 sons. Sanaka, Sananda, Sanat Kumara, and one more guy, I just forget his name now. Now those 4 the world. These 4 went and sat in meditation, forgot about everything, and they refused to procreate. It was an utter failure. So now what to do? Then it is interesting what he tell you from the book. Some places I like to read from the Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana and Sanat Kumara. Then, when they refused to create, he got very angry with them. But he controlled his anger, and though his reason held it in check, his anger took up a form.
Jai Gurudev, are we all okay to continue for a little longer?
Yes, Prabhupada.
Yes.
Can we go on? Because this will complete the first day. It will be another 20 minutes or so. If you're all okay with it, we'll continue.
Sure.
I think it's fine. You can complete one.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Finish it.
Okay, fine.
How many of you have felt his anger took up a form? He got very angry with them. But he controlled his anger, Sanatana and Sanat Kumara. Then, when they refused to create, he got very angry with them. But he controlled his anger, and though his reason held it in check, his anger took up a form and emerged out of his forehead. How many of you have felt that when you get very angry, there is a throbbing here in the forehead? How many of you felt it? Raise your hand. Next time the others, please get sensitive and see that. This throbs here. So that is what he's talking here about. It took a form and emerged out of his forehead. It was a child, reddish blue in hue, and he began to cry as soon as he was born. Then he says, please give me a name and a place where I can stay. Remember, this is a myth. Now you have to find a parallel in your life. I am not going to disclose everything myself. I want you to do some homework. Reddish blue baby comes out from the forehead. And then Brahma said, do not cry, and since you cried the moment you were born, I will call you Rudra. You all do Rudra Puja, no? Guruji sends a separate special man to come and do Rudra Puja. Rudra. The heart, the senses, life, sky, air, fire, water, earth, sun, moon, and tapas, penance. Tapas means when you tolerate, when you extend your capacity to bear pain. That is tapas, tapna. Okay? Because have you noticed, the minute you get a small pain, you take a, what do you take nowadays? I don't know. What painkiller you take? Advil. Advil. Something like that. Because I don't know. I don't get pains. And if I get a pain, I sit and do my breathing, and then it goes. So that is tapna. These are the places it is given to you. You can go now and produce many in your image. After that, Brahma produced 10 sons out of his body. I am just going to read the names for those who are interested in it. Others who are not interested, just skip over it. Some names, that's all. Don't get bothered. I must remember all these names. Atri, Angiras, Pulastya, Pulaha, Kratu, Brigu, Daksha, Marichi, Vasishta and Narada. Dharma and Adharma were also born of Brahma. Notice this. We are going to deal a lot in this book about Dharma and Adharma. And they also come from Brahma. They are part of our lives. The whole idea, the art of living is to handle both skillfully. Okay? Out of his heart was born desire, and out of his brows was born anger. His shadow took a form, and as Kardama. From his mind and body was created this entire world. Out of his 4 faces were born the 4 Vedas. Brahma then divided his body into 2. One was male and the other female. They were called Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa. These 2 produced 5 children. 3 were daughters, Akuti, Prasuti, Devahuti. The sons were Priyavrata and Uttanapada. Akuti was married to a rishi by name Ruchi, Devahuti to Kardama, Prasuti to Daksha. And the children of these with their descendants have populated the world. This is the summary. Okay? This is the initial myth. Understand? Now you can sit with all these things and work out. They are all produced from you. From your mind, from your heart, from your head, from your every parts of the body. Your world, each one of us are producing our world from within ourselves. I think today we mentioned that in the class. Do you remember? Those of you who took the class in the afternoon, do you remember? We mentioned, you go with a long face, you will attract long-faced people towards you. You are happy, long-faced people will run away from you, and happy faces only will come to you. Yes or no? Tell me. Yeah? Isn't it true? Now this is a simple way I am telling you. If you are a drunkard, whom will you attract towards you? All people who like drinks. Yeah, it's so common. If you like playing games with cards, even you enter a train, there will be people already ready with cards. Have you noticed this or not? Wherever you carry your world with you. If you think your world is always unhappy, know who is the cause. Who is the cause? Why only 3-4 people are saying this? You know, whether you say it or not, that is the fact, so you better know it today. So you want to make your world happy, what should you do? Yeah. That's all. So simple. There you are. So all these names and all you can forget. Akuti, Prasuti, Kardama, Devahuti, all this is not relevant. You are the Devahuti, you are the Akuti, you are the Prasuti, you are everything. Understood? This is how we are going to read the whole Bhagavatam now. Clear? Good. So you don't need to have any cultural background for this, because this is about you and me. Now, what happens? Narayana, the Lord, you know that blue picture? That cool man, six-pack guy? So there he is on his bed, lying, relaxing, always relaxing. That's why I call him the cool guy. His head is resting always on the lap of Lakshmi. What does Lakshmi represent?
Prosperity.
Abundance, prosperity of everything. You know, I told you today afternoon, abundance is in the heart, not in the hand or in the cupboard. In the mind and heart, you should have abundance. You can go before a closet full of clothes and say, I have nothing to wear today for Bhagavatam. Utter poverty in the mind. You can do nothing about it. Here, Lakshmi means abundance in the mind and heart. Understood? Is that clear? So, abundance is having his head on her lap. Can you see this picture? Amazing, isn't it? And who is pressing his feet on the other end? All the Iyengars should know this very clearly. Shri Devi, Bhu Devi. Who's Bhu Devi? Earth. So the two wives of the Lord is who? Abundance and the world. This earth of us is the wife of the Lord. Are we together? Can you see this beautiful myth? So when you denude the forest, you are raping his wife. Are you hearing this? It's very strong, right? But how much more strong to put before we wake up, I don't know. Al Gore did a whole movie on it. The inconvenient truth. No effect. Anyway, will keep telling. So the earth is the other wife of the Lord. One day, these 4 young children of Brahma, the first 4, remember Sanaka, Sanatana, Sananda, Sanat Kumara, they go to visit Narayana, God, in his place. What is that place called? Vaikunta. Now you must understand what it means. Do anybody know what it means? Because if you knew, you will live differently. Kunta means lack, L-A-C-K. That you lack something. Poverty. I told you, the poverty in the mind which says I have nothing in my closet, nothing in the fridge to eat today. That is lack. Kunta. Got it? Vaikunta means without lack. So simply on one day you go into the temple, enter this way, enter that way, that is not Vaikunta. And you go there and express pure poverty. God, give me this, give me that, give me this, give me that, give me this, I want this, I want that. So you are expressing utter poverty and calling it Vaikunta. No way can it be Vaikunta. Get these things very clearly. This is for Indians who go to temple on the Vaikunta Ekadashi day and think they got Vaikunta. They don't. So there they go with utter poverty. So that's what I have to tell all of them. Okay? Or anybody in any culture would go and say, give me this, give me that. You are going to the wrong person for it. Because he is in Vaikunta. If he was in Kunta, he will join you. But the problem problem is he is in Vaikunta, which means no lack, absolute abundance. Lakshmi, Mahalakshmi, not ordinary Lakshmi, Mahalakshmi. He is there, and these 4 guys go, and there is a guard, a security guard at the entrance. And there are 2 of them, Jaya and Vijaya, 2 guys. Who are they? The guards are Victory and Maha Victory. How else to say Jaya Vijaya? Victory only can be at the entrance of the Lord. But what do these 2 guys do? They do not allow these 4 to enter Vaikunta. They prevent them from entering Vaikunta. So these 4 curse these 2 guys. And what is the curse? You will be born as human beings on earth. That's the worst curse you can do. Not as a snake, not as a cockroach, but as human beings. Because a cockroach and all the animals do not have the 6th sense. We are supposed to have it. And we have the capacity to destroy ourselves. Only the human species can do this. No other species can destroy itself. We can destroy ourselves and all other species. So they cursed these 2 fellows and said, you will be born not once, thrice. And these 2 guys, oh please, please forgive us, we'll do anything, you'll do anything, but not as human beings. Let us be born as a worm, earthworm, but not as you. No, sorry, we have given you the curse. In the meantime, Vishnu hears this commotion at the entrance and he comes up and he goes there and says, what is happening here? Why is all this happening? And these 2 guys say, so silly sir, forgive me, forgive us. These 4 people have cursed us. We have to go as human beings. Please save me, save us. Vishnu says, look, once such great rishis have said something, we can do nothing about it. But this much I can do for you, because you have been my faithful guards all these days, and I can't let you down. So the least I can do is, the 3 times you go down on earth as human beings, I will also come. And I will personally kill you so that you will finish that term as a human being, come back. And I have to do this 3 times because you have to burn 3 times. Okay? And so, the first time, these 2 are born as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu to Kashyapa Muni and Diti. They were actually very good Brahmins. Brahmin means, by the way, let us get that also out of the way. Brahmin is one who is seeking the ultimate Brahman. Brahman is consciousness. The full, complete, absolute consciousness which is pervading all of us and the universe, everywhere. Bahyantara prapancha palini. That which pervades everything and everybody, that consciousness. Got it? The one who seeks this is called a Brahmana. The one who seeks Brahman is called a Brahmana. He is not by birth a Brahmana, but by what he is seeking. The one who seeks something else, let us say power, is called a Kshatriya. The power to rule, to organize. The one who searches and wants all the time to work. Have you noticed? Some people are workaholics. Yes, have you noticed? These are the Shudras. Understand? See, somewhere we get the idea this is below, that is high, this is low and all that. Not like that. The one who loves to do trading, commerce, is a Vaishya. Understand? You will notice a child from young only, he'll trade. I'll give you marble, you give me that. And always very cleverly he will take something better. That is a Vaishya. You can see him. Straight away put him into business management. You don't have to wait for him to become 18, 20. There only put him in a college. He will beat everybody all up. Have you noticed? You know all this. No? And whereas another child will start wanting to chant, will want to sit in meditation. Have you seen that also? And those are the Brahmanas. Got it? It's not out of birth, it's from your inclination, your aptitude. It will come naturally to you. You will be unhappy doing anything else. You will be happy doing this. Yes? Each one of us are happy doing something, no? That is what we have to see. Got it? Very good. Now, the first one, Hiranyaksha. The meaning means, Hiranya means gold. Aksha means eyes. Gold eyes. Now we are not doing any James Bond movie here. Gold. No, we are not doing that. What it means simply is, I think you will understand this better. That, whenever you see something, it's always how many dollars? How much is this? How much is that socks? Must be $10, $20. She bought it in Walmart, she bought it here. Have you seen? People will be assessing you from dollars only. Have you seen that? Or gold. How much gold? In India it is gold. Always. 2 tolas, 10 tolas, what's she wearing? How much is she wearing? You people won't even understand. You have no clue. You have to come to India to see this. Here you understand this. The car, how many dollars? The house, how many dollars? Everything, we call it dollar aksha. You understand? Aksha means eyes. That is, when you see something, you always are measuring it against what? Dollars. You got it? Hiranyaksha. Perfect? Samajh gaye? Very good. So this guy, what does he do? He wants a lot of money. What does he do? He sees trees, he sees money. Okay, chop it, sell it in another market, make money. Then what does happens to the world? It gets drowned in floods. Yes or no?
Yes.
Now you are getting the picture? So Hiranyaksha destroyed all the forest, this, that, everything. And what happened? The floods came and drowned the earth. It got submerged in water. The myth says it got submerged and it was buried and it was drowning, and then the Lord came as a boar, and the boar has this horn in his nose, no? In that he picked the earth and came out. Now I am going to give this homework for you people, those who are interested. Sit and work out what is that. This image of a boar going and saving the world. Find out. You may find the reason how we can save our country, our world today. Sit and work it out. Do some work, yeah. All the work I do, then what? You will even forget. When you do the work and get it, you will say, I discovered it. You can put your name in the Facebook or on Twitter. What's on your mind? Ta-da-da, ta-da-da, ta-da-da.
Yeah, Jai Gurudev. This concludes the first day. Let me just...
Making it so interesting, no?
Yeah, very beautiful. So we'll watch the
Jai Gurudev. We can spend about 10 minutes just recollecting and sharing what we have heard. So how very beautifully Rajima started off with talking about the myth and made us understand how by word of mouth and by Shraddha that we relate to the Puranas, the Bhagavatam, Mahabharata, all of that, giving us that example of that embroidery that the great-great-grandmother did. So that brings in that element of Shraddha. And then the whole story of Bhagavatam is nothing but the story of you and me, the story of God. And how Vyasa was depressed after compiling all the Vedas, writing the Mahabharata, all of that. Narada comes and tells him, till now you've been working from your intellect, now you write a story from your heart. That will be the solution to your depression. Right? And that's how the element of bhakti comes in. And then the story of Parikshit, how the artist, before starting off the story, creates the background. And this is the background that is there in the Bhagavatam. So how did Parikshit come up? I think there was a little factual thing. Subhadra is actually Abhimanyu's mother, is Krishna's sister. Abhimanyu's wife is Uttara. So Uttara was pregnant with Parikshit. Then Ashwatthama comes and vows that to avenge his father's death. Dronacharya, he comes and kills all the Upa-Pandavas, all the sons of the Pandavas. But the one Pandava that is still growing in Uttara's womb, Parikshit, is protected by Krishna as that blue light that keeps on revolving around him, that protects him from that Brahmastra that Ashwatthama sends. That is why he's called Parikshit, someone who's continuously looking around him in all directions, 360 degrees, because he goes on looking at that blue light that is revolving around him. And how he gets the curse from the sage when he goes to his hermitage in search of water and he's not received, puts that dead skin snake on his shoulders, and the son who comes in sees this and curses Parikshit that he will die by a snake bite in 7 days. And with what a sense that Parikshit accepts it gladly. I mean, that was the level of the value system then. He gladly accepted it. And then when he reaches his guru, Kula Guru, asks him, how do I spend these 7 days? He says, listen to the Bhagavatam. And therefore he goes to Shuka Brahma, who is Shuka Maharshi, who is none other than the son of Vyasa. Right? So I would want everybody else also to share from here on. And beautiful imports that Rajima has given that we can all relate to ourselves. No? The implied meanings of the different aspects of the story. So the story is actually happening in us. Each of us creates our own world. Deep sleep to dream to waking. Yeah, please go ahead.
Jai Gurudev, can someone give that explanation I missed about Ananta? He said it is a 1,000-headed snake and it resting on ego, is it? Was Ananta the ego?
Yeah, that is the artist's imagination of the consciousness. How he drew it is this cool blue guy lying down. And he's lying down on a bed, which is the ego, because ego is our problem. The only problem we have is the ego, and it can show up in 1,000 different ways. You tackle it in one way, it shows up in another way. So the best that the universal consciousness did was to keep that as his bed. So that is why that is depicted there as the Ananta. Ananta is he's always lying down on his bed, on that bed. And then Sri Devi and Bhudevi, abundance and the earth.
Yeah. So this, I used to think that the Ananta is awareness and Narayana is relaxing in that state of awareness. Though he's relaxing, he is aware. So that is what the snake depicts. That's what I was thinking. I have watched Rajima's thing many times. I've watched these Bhagavatham many times, but I somehow missed this, that it is the ego, that the consciousness is relaxing in ego. Anyway, we'll see.
See, this is only a depiction. It is not to be taken literally, and we need to get the implied meaning here. Here we'll work for all the Puranas and the myths. You come from the space of your heart. So you leave your intellect aside. We will not be able to understand the whole Puranas. Remember, that is why she keeps referring to that myth.
Yeah. Thank you.
That element of Shraddha has to be there. So I think that is how we proceed further. And each one of us is a Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva in our own way. Each one of us is actually creating our world, isn't it? In deep sleep, when there is no world, there is no thought. That is the bed, that sea of awareness. That is what it is in deep sleep. But come the dream, there is some movement, there is thoughts, there is something happening. And then finally in the waking state, you wake up and you create the whole world, your own world. So there is the Brahma there. And then the Vishnu is you maintain everything. You maintain whatever your life, your relationships. And then you also destroy, you weed out things. We destroy ignorance. So there is all the three Shaktis manifest in us. It is good for everybody also to share. We have another minute or so. Yeah, go ahead.
My takeaway for today is the momentary anger can destroy so much. The king, like Parikshit also, he was thirsty, and out of anger, he did the act, and he had to take the curse of the Rishi's son. But on the other side, the kind of realization he had immediately after the anger, the self-realization, that was very adorable. And he tries to ask the spiritual leader, although he had everybody in his kingdom, but he's asking for spiritual lead. The Rishi, he's asking that how he should spend his 7 days of life. And he's taking it so positively. So that is, and it was beautiful experience. Dhanyavad.
Jai Gurudev, this talks about how to handle dharma and adharma skillfully, That was also born along with the other children. It was a good takeaway.
Also, we should be in the state of Vaikuntha, no lack. And when we are happy, we attract happy people around. And if we are unhappy, we attract the similar vibes and same kind of people.
And so there is food for thought. See, when Vishnu from the navel, from the center of his body, comes a lotus stalk. And on the top of the stalk is a lotus on which he creates Brahma. And then he tells him to start creation. He first creates 4 sons, the 4 Manus, Sanat Kumara, Sanandana, Sanatana, and not Shuka.
Sanaka.
Sanaka, correct. Thank you. Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumara. And they are not able to do anything. So he becomes angry. And from between his eyebrows, there is this reddish blue thing, baby that is born. And he keeps crying. That is the Rudra. It's so symbolic. All of this is actually happening within us. And then apart from Rudra, he creates 10 sons. And he manifests himself as the male half and the female half, which is the Swayambhuva Manu and not Devahuti. What is
Shatarupa.
that? Shatarupa and Swayambhu Manu. And from there you get 3 daughters and 2 sons, or it's the other way around, 2 daughters and 3 sons. Devahuti.
3 daughters and 2 sons.
3 daughters and 2 sons, right?
Yeah.
And then actually, Suma, if you look at this logically, so Devahuti marries Kardama. So it is as though there is a lot of consanguinity there, no?
I was thinking of Nanaji's telling, no, that that question, that how did we come?
Right. So it becomes illogical actually. Oh, come on, there was consanguineous marriages then within the family. But actually what Rajima said is, the implied meaning is that all of this represents some aspect of us. So all this is happening, this creation is happening within us. It is
the source is all you. And
exactly.
to know that even Brahma got angry when his desire was not fulfilled.
No.
We do that, no? We still have that.
So taking the implied meaning, then it becomes a beautiful tool for inner realization. And how Rajima, from when she was like a toddler, she kept listening to this. She never imagined she will become, a storyteller of Bhagavatam later in life. But that is the importance of samskaras that we lay down in our life. And how people who take responsibility for themselves will actually come to this knowledge. Not everybody will have the inclination, number one. And for such a thing as Bhagavatam, you don't need an invitation. You just hear that it is happening and then you just go. So we'll continue tomorrow. She left us with that food for thought of how to relate Varaha Avatara and Bhudevi, how the earth was protected and uplifted from drowning in that water with the boar by the avatara called the Varaha Avatar. So maybe we can reflect on that until we meet up tomorrow. So we'll close here today. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.